We've currently partnered with 6 libraries around the world, one of which is Stanford University, and we're working closely. They're our neighbors here, and we work closely with them to digitize the materials in their collection and make them searchable online.
With this robotic book scanner that we have, we can do 15 to 40,000 books a year. I would be a very, very old man before we did 9 million books at that rate. So the Google came to us with a proposition to invest heavily in this and to invest innovatively in this and to give us back copies of the digital copies that they made, as well as not damaging the books. So the public, the private partner is the only partner that came to us with a conception that was big.
What is the interest of Google?
First, I think that they do it because they know they will build traffic to their site. I do think they also have a philanthropic point of view, an missionary point of view. They are literally trying to do good while doing well. They're trying to do good for the public, wherever that public might be, while they're doing well in their profit column.
Google's just another corporation, and they'll take advantage of their assets to try to use it as an advantage in the commercial marketplace. That's all they are, and that's all they can be under our system. If it's up to one company to say yes or no for any particular type of research, have we really won? Or are we living in a sort of scary Orwellian world?
This is a test voice clip sent over Messenger as well as over Skype.
For 7 years, Sugata Mitra has been installing computers in the streets of India for both school children and street children. It's known as the Hole in the Wall project. A number of African countries, Venezuela and Argentina, have also shown interest in Dr. Mitra's project.
The idea was to see if children can teach themselves how to use a computer. This is important in countries like India, where there are not enough teachers and not enough schools. The results are that up to 200 children can teach themselves to use a computer using only one playground computer. And in 9 months, they teach themselves enough to be able to do all the usual functions on a computer. The most common use is, of course, for downloading games and music. But after a few months, when they get tired of it, then they also start browsing and use Google to help them with their schoolwork, which is quite interesting. They use Google to search for things that they have read in the school, and also for generally things that they are curious about. I haven't seen them use anything else other than Google.
Well, I mean, I really view us as computer scientists. So we can analyze a problem and we can solve a problem, but we're not governmental officials. We're not policy makers on a global scale. We're simply responding to the needs of our users.
With all due respect, it sounds almost naive, considering the scale on which Google works.
I'm sorry, but that's my perspective.
As an ignorant consumer, you're implicitly saying to me, trust me.
I sense that you're really trying to hammer this point through about trust me. Could I suggest to you that in the business you're in, the production of television programs, you're saying the same thing to the audience, trust me. You have every opportunity to manipulate this interview and any other, if you chose to do so, to bias it according to a particular philosophy that you have. And yet I'm sure you would tell me that your intent is not to do that, that you're trying to get all sides of the picture in place so that the viewer gets to decide what is true and what isn't true. It's true in all media that there is an implicit potential for that kind of bias.
This is Silicon Valley, California, and these dudes are Chad Hurley, Kevin Rose, and Jay Adelson. Now, they may look more like Doogie Howser than Che Guevara, but these guys are among the leaders of the Web 2.0 revolution. Rose and Adelson run Dig, a social news website, the content of which is chosen by its devoted user community of millions. Hurley, meanwhile, is the co-founder of one of the planet's most insanely popular websites, YouTube, the online video sharing service that was bought by Google in 2006 for a jaw-dropping $1.65 billion. Now, you might think that like other startup players, these guys are in it to get rich. And yeah, they are. But they're also on a mission to change the world through web-enabled people power.
I think it's just, this is what the internet's all about. The internet's about connecting individuals or connecting individuals to information.
Who do you trust more? Do you trust some corporate executive in some smoky-filled back room, or do you trust your peers and the people who are connected to you?
Before, it was just the traditional media companies that would control the gates of distribution. And also, they were controlling what was being produced. But we think everyone has an opportunity or should have the ability to be heard.
It's not surprising that some of the titans of television find YouTube so threatening, especially after its marriage to Google. For what Chad Hurley and his gang have done is given us all a power that used to reside only in the hands of the masters of big media. They've given each and every one of us our own personal broadcast tower from which we can transmit our home video creations, be they brilliant or utterly moronic, to a potential audience of millions. But YouTube wasn't alone. With the rise of sites like Craigslist and Flickr, Dig and Match.com, posting online video was just one of many ways in which people became active players in an increasingly two-way web. They shared their music. They sold their stuff. They posted pictures of themselves when they tried to get a date. With this shift in attitude, a new era began on the internet, an era where content was created by the crowd in all its wisdom and stupidity, an era that would come to be known as Web 2.0. The phrase means different things to different people, but no one has been a more pivotal theoretician of it than Fred Wilson. Wilson is a New York venture capitalist, a very rich man, and the backer of such cutting-edge Web 2.0 services as Delicious and Twitter. He's also a highly respected blogger who draws a large audience of people eager to listen to his musings, not just about money and investing, but about the meaning of it all.
The fact that the people who are firing up their web browsers and going onto the web now can actually contribute back and be a participant in the web experience, whether that's contributing content, whether that's voting on Dig, whether that's, you know, taking a video on YouTube and putting it somewhere else. It just, they are having an everyday meaningful impact on what the web is. That to me is what Web 2.0 is all about.
Over at Dig, a similar kind of experiment is underway. Only here the subject isn't frivolous TV entertainment, but that most self-serious of subjects, news. Like a newspaper, Dig is full of the latest goings-on from around the world. But what lands on Dig's front page isn't decided by some stripy-shirted, ink-stained Ben Bradley wannabe. It's decided by you, the user. The more people who dig, which is to say vote for, a given story, the more prominence it gets on the site.